Very good morning, everybody, for Thursday, the 31st of March. Well, you can feel it in the temperature. It's got a lot colder. That cold front went through last night. Didn't bring as much snow as, or any snow really, is forecast 24 hours ago. However, there are some snow showers out towards East Anglia, which may be headed this way during this morning and into the early part of this afternoon. And we've picked up a very strong northeasterly flow across our area, which is really the challenge for today in terms of operation. As we go through the next 24 hours, that comes around to a bit more northerly, lightens off a little bit before we get to the weekend, where hopefully, if we're lucky, we should have a pretty nice soarable weekend. So those winds from the northeast, 0 to 0 across all of that region, slap bang perfect almost for the ridge. 25 to 30 knots at flying heights, on the ground at least 20 knots. Doesn't seem to be too much of a gradient between the upper wind and the lower wind, but certainly it has triggered a number of weather warnings on this page, as you can see, talking of 35 knot gusts this afternoon and snow during the day. So certainly a lot of warnings to contend with today. Satellite picture over the UK is showing sort of a medium level bit of cloud, which is sort of hanging about at the moment. It's not particularly low, but it's embedded within that. As I said, just to the north of London, we do have showers which are starting to come our way. They may break up a little bit, but certainly they are going to be a factor that we must consider. Rain alarm shows the showers sort of moving down at the moment, just north of St Albans. I'd say probably in the next sort of 90 minutes to 2 hours, you'll probably see a shower or so as it comes down. So that's a bit of a pain. The main concern, though, is the strength of the wind on the ground and actually how it lines up with the airfield. So looking at weather, I think this afternoon will be nice and sunny. However, as you can see here, we're likely to have gusts in excess of 30 knots. And on the ground, generally 20 knot mean wind. And it doesn't really line up with any of the runways we've got either. So for those of you that may be looking to launch, you're going to have to be very, very careful. 7 degrees top temperature today. It won't feel like that. 6 degrees on GFS, as we can see here. And dew points, because as we've got a cold front that's gone through, much, much lower now, -6, -7. And cloud base is expected to be quite high this afternoon. ODM are currently reporting overcast at 1,000 feet and 13 knots for the northwest. But it is due to swing around to the northeast. And as you can see here, cloud base does go up. But where those showers do occur, you may get gusts in excess of 35 knots from the northeast, and 26 knots being the main wind. So that's pretty sporting. Just go down towards Gatwick just to see what it's like towards the ridge. I don't think there's any real difference. 25 knots to 35 knots, quite widely across there. And potential flight distance doesn't include ridge on here, but it will be soarable. It will be quite nice and soarable actually. But the thermal's getting chopped up by a lot of the wind that's up there. As you can see, by about 3 o'clock this afternoon, this is reporting cloud base of 6,500 feet across the sort of southeast region and even out in towards Wales. But it's just a case of getting on or off the ground, which is going to be the consideration. And as we look at site forecast, that will be able to give a bit better of a view on what's going on. As you can see here, yeah, it's fairly sporting on the ground. And gusts again, 35 knots or more, but reasonable thermals if you're up there. Okay, airspace wise, there's not a lot to affect. There's parachuting in the dry zone all day. There's paragliding, although that is a bit windy for paragliding. In the Westbury area, I'm sure there may be paragliding or model flying going on the ridge. Parham might be open. Don't know. There are not many people who have signed up on Parham's website to fly out of there today, but there's a potential that they might be open, or you might find the gates locked. You have to find out. So jet movement wise, there's one jet movement at around 2 o'clock or just after. Other than that, there's nothing really to affect. So I'm just going to look through just to see who we got on the call today. Yeah, the mix. As Mike Birch is duty instructor today. If you do fly, then I'd say it is going to be quite difficult to do much training. I'm sure there's probably a way to get people off to the ridge, but I think today is not going to be a particularly easy training day because the wind is going to be sort of coming from about there on the airfield, which makes winch launching quite tricky, and this whole split operation can be quite tricky as well. But I'll leave Mike to have a reasonable conversation with those. But yeah, if you don't have a bronze badge, today is not really going to be particularly useful for any exercises as such, because it's going to be so crosswind and so windy. I'd say aerotows can probably go off the runway on 09 or whichever direction appears correct at the time, and then land into wind when you come back. But do take into account those risk factors which I have mentioned today. But I'll leave that in the capable hands of Mike. And I think tomorrow is due to be a bit better. So potentially choose tomorrow instead as a slightly easier ridge day without the risk of showers and snow and stuff like that. And then hopefully we'll have a nice weekend. Okay, I'll see you soon. Have a nice day. Bye for now.